Good evening. Namaskar. It gives me great pleasure to be connecting with all of you. And I would like to extend my gratitude and thanks to Muzaffarnagar Mirror for getting in touch with me, reaching out to me to come and speak to all of you. Thank you, Mr. Samarth Prakash, for this kind gesture. It is entirely my pleasure. Lockdown has been a very unprecedented time, something that none of us had thought would ever be happening to any of us. It's a surprise that 5 months have gone by and we still are managing to sail through our times.
And what we are seeing today is the same amount of unpredictability. We are not sure which direction are we going in. Are we going to get the vaccine today? Will the vaccine be effective? What is going to be the future? Are we going to move back into the same world? I'm not sure. A lot of us have been talking about the new normal. I don't think that's the new normal. It'll never be normal. It'll be the new world. And for many of us, adapting to that new world is not going to be that easy. What got me into this reflective mode was the fact that in our own country, we were not paying attention to the diversity that we had. We talk about globalization. We are ready to do a lot of things when we talk about globalization. We are talking about integrating the people from the other countries into our system. But what about the people of the other states, of the other castes, of the other communities, of the other economic status? Are we looking out at them? We went into a complete lockdown. Did any of us think that there would be laborers on the roads who will not be able to comprehend what is happening? They all might want to go back home. The number of laborers on the road made me actually look back at our value system. For a few days, the recordings that I was seeing, the news coverings that I was seeing, almost made me feel like we are living the partition once again. We had not seen partition, but what we were seeing was almost a replica of the movies that we had seen. People on the roads, carrying their luggage, carrying their children. It really made me think, have we become so materialistic? Have we become so self-centered? And if we have become so self-centered, what is happening to our generation, the coming generation? Are we passing on the same value systems to these children? I would not like to believe that that's the truth. But somewhere, I'm not sure. As an educational institute, am I contributing enough for this world to be a better place? Am I making the children aware of the apathies that are happening around? As a parent, am I exposing my child to the harsh realities of life? Or am I keeping my child completely cocooned, comfortable in their zone? Lots of questions. Some answers, some I'm still trying to come to terms with. So, this conversation today gave me an opportunity. Gave me an opportunity to share my learnings, my feelings with all of you, and maybe getting some answers from all of you. I know this is going to be a one-sided conversation as of now. But whatever comments, whatever questions that arise, we're going to take that up forward and then maybe build a better community, find solutions, find our own answers. I know many people who are watching me today would be parents, would be educators, would be people who are contributing to the growth of the children in some way or the other. There's a saying that it's very dear to my heart. I believe a lot in it. And that goes, it takes a village to raise a child. Raising a child is not just the job of one person, it's a whole community. It's the parent, the first step, the school, the second step, and the community, the third step. That's how covered the child is, that's how encompassed the growth of the child is. So, if I look at the lockdown situation or this post-COVID thing or during the COVID time, I see some of it as an opportunity for all of us to connect back with the children. I completely understand that parents are very worried about the session to be a zero session or the children not learning as much as they should have learned or what they learn when they are in school. But if you look at our new education policy is talking about skills. It is talking about how we have to ensure that our child is able to live in this world, enabled, not disabled. And when we talk about skills, is school the only place where the children can learn those skills? Or can we teach them those skills now in the situation that we are in? You know, if you think today, the ones who have successfully been able to sail through this lockdown are the ones who are generally very adaptable. It doesn't have to do with our academic qualifications. It doesn't have to do with anything. It just has to do with certain skills that we are enabled with. Some of us are very good in handling adversities. Some people went under depression. Some did not. Some came out of it. Some saw this as an opportunity. Some saw this as a disaster. And I'm not saying that the disaster or the opportunity depended upon the business or the thing that you're involved in. Many people from a humble background have taught me that this was a very good time to connect back. I saw the help in my house. She was thrilled at the idea that now she has time to see what her daughter does. She doesn't have to run from one house to the other. She can cook a hot meal for her child. So she looked at the brighter side. And all of a sudden I realized, yeah, true. Why am I not looking at that brighter side? We've heard a lot of parents always saying, I wish I had time to connect with my child. You have all the time now. You're all working from home. When was the last time that your child actually sat with you to hear your story? Have you shared your story with your child? Have you told your child about what were you as a child? What were your dreams? What were your aspirations? Where did you fail? How did you reach where you have reached today? We grew up hearing these stories. So maybe our adversity quotient is higher because of this reason. That we realize that our parents didn't have a success story throughout. Neither did our grandparents, nor our uncle and aunts. So I think now that we have the kids back home, the parents need to sit them down and talk to them. Share their stories, share their lives, not just their successes, but their failures. Since Sushant Rajput passed away, everyone got very aware all of a sudden about the mental health. But these things have been happening for the longest time. Whether it is substance abuse, whether it is handling relationships, whatever, the bottom line of this entire thing is that the person doesn't have anyone to reach out to. Are we teaching our children to become observant? Are we teaching our children to be learners? Can we do that while the kids are back home? Can we tell our children that it's okay to fail? The 90% is not going to get you anywhere if mentally you are not strong. And when I say mentally not strong, I'm not suggesting that tell the child that no, it's not okay to cry. It's absolutely fine to cry. Hear them out. But teach them what makes them happy. Teach them to look at the brighter side. So I'll give you an example. Supposedly, so this is something that we do with some of our kids also. We create 3 zones. We talk of a red zone, an orange zone, and a green zone, right? Red zone are the things, we list all those things that make us unhappy. This can be done by the teachers in class as well. So we make a list of all the things that make us unhappy. We make a list of all the things which calm us down to a point, not completely, and we list them into the orange zone. And we list all the things that make us happy in the green zone. So what we call is, we create an emotional thermometer. And what do we do with this emotional thermometer? Anything that makes me angry, I recognize those thoughts, I recognize those things, and I put them in one list. I put the things that make me happy in another list. And what do I have to teach my child? I need to teach my child to transit from the angry zone to the happy zone on their own. And this can be beautifully done right now when we all have more time relatively with each other. I'm not saying more time as in we have less work. No, our work has increased multifold. But at the same point of time, we all are living together. We don't have an option to go out for a vacation. See, when we are out on a vacation or going to a mall, our attention is diverted. But when we are back home, our attention is grounded. We should use this opportunity to have some deep conversations with each other, to build relationships. All of us need to sit down and write down those things that put us in the red zone. And then over a dining table conversation, discuss those things. All of our red conversations should be, red areas, red flags should be put out, so that we all know that this is what makes us angry. Let's not tread into that area. And supposedly you've said something to make me unhappy, I should have the control to be able to make myself happy. Not just bang the door and go away and then wait for somebody to make me happy. And students who are listening to me, I'm talking to you. I'm telling you to learn to take control of your emotions. Don't become closed. Learn to accept. This makes me unhappy. This makes me happy. Let me learn how do I shift from one zone to the other zone. We also as parents need to teach our children to be able to handle our differences. Now supposedly I've had a fight with my better half. My child does not need to take the burden of it. Oh, what is going to happen to them? Are they going to fall apart? They should be aware that if I get angry, I'm going to move myself into the green zone, either by ranting it out to somebody or maybe going and cooking or listening to music. There's something or the other that I will do to make myself move into the happy zone. And if I can move myself into the happy zone, they are less burdened. But how does my child know that I will move into a happy zone? I will need to tell the child. So we all need to sit back and think, can we do something to build our family stronger? To build our relationships with each other stronger? Can we acknowledge each other's feelings? I'll give you another very simple example. Supposedly, some member of the family is upset, right? I got upset because somebody spoke very rudely to me. So I simply say, I'm not happy. I'm very upset that you spoke like that to me. Now, instead of acknowledging, if you are going to say, you're very sensitive, you don't understand anything, you've become sensitive about everything, do you think that is going to resolve the problem? No. So the better way out is, when somebody is sharing their feeling, see, it is their feeling. It is my feeling. I got upset. Acknowledge it. You don't need to solve it. It is my feeling. I will solve it eventually. But if you refuse to accept that I felt like that, that's but naturally going to make me angry. So can we become listeners? Because the fact is, whatever we do as adults, our children are watching us. You know, there is a very common thing that we keep saying. We normally say, don't worry that your child is not doing what you're asking them to do. Worry that they're watching whatever you are doing. That's what you need to worry. If you're speaking on the phone and you're saying that, um, I've already done this, whereas your child knows you've not completed the work, the child is learning this art of telling a white lie. It's okay. So what, Papa? You also said it the other day that you had completed it. So what if I told you I've completed my homework but I've not done it? I would have done it anyway. So we all need to become a little watchful of what we are doing. And if we become watchful, believe me, our children are going to become better people. Sit them down, make them understand why their grandparents feel in a certain way. Ask them to watch over the way you people behave with your parents. Give them the right to check you. And at the same point of time, children also need to understand this thing, that when we are talking to an adult, yes, they are friendly, or more than friendly, I would use, they are understanding parents. They're reasonable parents. But they're not our friends. We cannot talk to them the way we talk to our friends. We cannot unnecessarily argue. We can discuss, we can put up a point of view. But we can't argue. We cannot shut our door at them. They're older than us. These are behavioral norms we all need to accept. And we all need to explore around it. And as teachers, we can ensure that when we are talking to our children, we are talking about the values that we expect our class to have. So this opportunity we can actually utilize in ensuring that we are all building a stronger community, a community which is ready to stand by each other, a community which is honest, a community which is hardworking. And a teacher's role is the most important in this. Yes, of course, it comes along with the role of a parent, but a teacher's role is equally important. If a teacher is shouting at the children and is expecting that the children don't shout back at them, it's difficult. Children normally do what they see their adults doing. And I'm not talking about just the junior age group. I'm talking about every age group. All kids, all children. I've been in this industry for the last 20 plus years. I'm in touch with children who are 4 years old till who are about 30 now. And I'm noticing the same pattern everywhere. So why are we refusing to believe this fact that they are not looking at us, they are watching us? Why don't we decide to be better human beings? Why don't we take the onus and say, okay, fine, I made a mistake, I'm sorry. Let's move on from here. And as teachers, this is a time we connect with all of these kids. They're far away from us. We don't know what kind of homes they are in. We don't know what's happening in their home when we are doing an online class with them. Why do we need to be so harsh? Can we give them some extra time to submit an assignment? Do we need to complete the syllabus, or are we concerned about completing the content? So for teachers, what I would have as a suggestion is, let's not look at the syllabus. As school heads, let us not look at the syllabus. Let us look at the content. What do you expect a class 1 child should know by the time the class gets over? That's all. It doesn't matter whether they've done those 10 chapters or not. It doesn't matter whether they've done those 10 sums or not. But have they understood the concept of addition? A class 9th moving into class 10th. Light, shadows, these are important chapters for them in physics. Do we need to actually read it line by line? Or can we just teach them the concept of light and shadows by doing some experiments? By asking them to watch things around them, by asking them to see how tall does the building look in a reflection, as in a shadow, when the sun is at different times of the day. I think that can be done. We are doing that in the school. We are trying to assimilate as much of information as possible and push it back to them and expecting that they're going to retain all of it. They won't. But a concept that they have understood will surely stay with them. So my sincere request to all the teachers, just go back to your drawing board and have a look at the chapters. See, what are the teachings that you need to make out of those chapters? Just talk about the teachings, forget the chapters. And the teachers cannot work on this unless and until their school heads understand the need of it. School heads, please remember, you're not just the head of the school, you're the heart of the school. And if you are concerned about the growth of the children, your teachers will be able to do a fantabulous job with it. But if we as heads are not able to understand what the teachers need, because the fact is that preparing an online class takes many more hours than a regular class. So we cannot expect them to do an 8 periods a day kind of a schedule. I do not see that happening. It just doesn't make sense. Neither are kids going to be able to sit for those 8 periods. See, what happens is when they're in school, they are actually in an environment. They're interacting with each other. They're not sitting solo. They're not talking to a screen. They have a physical contact. They're busy giggling. They're busy laughing, which they cannot do when they're on an online system. So why are we expecting? When our mode of teaching has changed, then why is the mode of timetable the same? Why is the mode of exam the same? These are questions that we need to sit and discuss. These are questions for which we need to find answers. Online teaching can help us achieve a lot of things. It can, we can teach music, we can teach arts, we can teach everything through it. The only thing that at the minute everyone feels we are missing, and I keep being asked this question, what about the social skill that a school teaches us? We are missing out on teaching social skills. But is the school the only area where social skills are taught? Can we not create or replicate a model back home? Can we as parents not remind the child to go and spend some time with the adults in the house? Help the juniors. Take care of the brother or a sister or a cousin. Read out a story to them. Can we not tell them to call up their uncle and aunts and ask them how they are doing? Can we not tell them to look out or reach out to a neighbor, old person who's carrying the grocery bags back home? Can we not teach them while they are back home? I don't think that's not possible. Just think. The first place where a child learns the social skills is back home. That is why they are comfortable, they are secure in that environment. It is known fact, it's scientifically proven that a child starts learning at the age of 0 to 3. The maximum learning happens during that time. There are 700,000 neurons that are getting developed at that age. And that is why we teach children a lot of things. Their language comes at that age. All the milestones they achieve during those formative years. So then, why are we thinking that the school is only going to be able to contribute to it? We can. All this can happen back home. When I look at the preschoolers and when I look out and see that there are children who have been sitting in front of a screen, small ones, 4-year-olds and all, and trying to copy a handwriting, it is criminal. It does not need to be done like that. So as schools, we need to actually look at our system and understand, do we really need to do the things that we were doing while we were in a class? I really think we need to find an answer for this. What we are doing right now is not happening in a class. It is happening back home. Parents have their limitations, students have their limitations. We are not there to help them. They are not professionally trained to be able to do the job that we can do. So why don't we use the environment that is there and ensure that the learning happens in that environment. Why don't we create our children learners? Because, frankly speaking, according to the NEP, we will all need to ensure this one skill in them. Our children of 2020, if a child is coming to us in 2020 in class 1, by 2035, we as teachers cannot predict what jobs they will be moving out into. So why are we trying to teach them the things of yesterday? We need to get them ready for tomorrow. And the only way they can be ready for tomorrow is if we can keep the ability in them to learn, to keep learning new things. If they can learn new things, they'll be successful. They will not need to turn back and say, oh, but we did not do it in school. Because for them, the school is out there, everywhere. It's all education. They need to see education beyond the four walls. Today, when the lockdown happened, most of the parents went agitating, saying no school, no fee. Why did we associate education with school? What made school all about education? School is not about just education, it is way more. But at the same point of time, a building being shut does not mean that education is not happening. We all started working from home. Okay, so if I was a software engineer and I was preparing a program back from home, it's expected of my organization to pay me, right? So if I'm a teacher and I'm working back from home, why is it not expected that the school should pay me? None of these organizations, none of these places is a significance, like these buildings are not a significance of that organization. The people in the building are. And the teachers did not stop. And the way we spoke about it back home, do you think we taught the children the right way of communicating our angst? Do you think they learned anything great about it? So if we are not respecting their teachers, do you think the children are going to respect their teachers? And if today my child cannot respect one adult, my child will not respect the other adult. And eventually it will come to a point when my child will not respect me. They cannot have a different behavior for different human beings. So we have to teach them. We have to show consistency to them. We have to show them this is how the world is. It doesn't matter. Somebody may behave in a certain manner. It does not make you react in that same way. So somewhere during this entire time, the learning that I came out with was that value system is what we as individuals need to concentrate on. We need to build a little more sensitive human being. We need to work towards that. And it cannot happen in isolation just in the school. The whole community needs to be a part of it. Parents need to speak our language. If the parents don't speak our language, we are never going to be successful. Partly, yes. Completely, no. We may touch a chord in a child's heart and it may work wonders, but if the parents are not on board with what the philosophy of the school is, it will be a big struggle. So, online is here to stay. And if I say online is here to stay, then the biggest concern most of the parents have is, how do I reduce the screen time? A child is sitting in front of a computer or a screen for, let's say, 4 hours or 5 hours of the day. After that, do they really need to watch the TV? Do they really need to play those video games? Do you all really need to sit in front of the television and have your dinner? I don't think that is as important as for them to attend the online that they need to attend. So sometimes when we are thrown in an adverse condition, the way out is to create a balance. If I know that the school is not going to open and maybe the entire year I will need my child to sit in front of the computer to be able to learn what they need to learn. Can I just ensure that the rest of the time they are not sitting in front of the screen? Can we just lock all the gadgets away? Can we make a part of a house rule? Can we involve our children in doing something along with us? So, see, if I shut the gadget, as in like I take away the gadget from my child, but I'm sitting and gossiping on WhatsApp, my child is not going to imbibe what I'm saying. So, the option is we say, okay, fine, from let's say 4 o'clock in the evening to 7 o'clock in the evening, none of us are going to touch the gadgets. All our gadgets are under lock and key. After that, we can all go back to our gadgets. But during that time, let's play carom board. Let's play Ludo. Let's play Antakshari. Let's go and listen to Dadu's story or Nanu's story. Let's find out what happened to these people when they were young. What was the world like that time? Let's discuss some birds that we saw. Okay, let's talk about some movie songs. Anything which does not involve a gadget. I'm sure we can do that. And you will realize there's going to be more laughter, more happiness, a lot of shouting, but that noise is not going to be noise. That's going to be sound. And when we talk of building a better tomorrow, we'll have a happier future for them as well as for us. Whether it is an educator, whether it is a parent, the biggest relief or the biggest happiness that we get is when we see a smile on any of our children's face. When they are like in their wow moment, when they are happy. So I think if we actually sit back and think, we will be able to handle this time where we know we have nothing better to do but what we are doing now. And if we learn to live in the happiness of now, we'll be able to handle any situation that comes our way. That did not stay, so this too shall pass. But while this is passing, let us all enjoy what we have. Let us say our thanks and let us be happy that we have each other and we can get this time together. I hope you all have a beautiful evening and have some thoughtful moments today. Have a good day. Namaskar.